Hello and welcome to an ME7 response video. What am I responding to? Wow, it's you guys. You guys have just totally been blowing my mind. Your many responses and comments and tributes have, man, that's been humbling. It's really shocking me. I didn't realize how much of an impact I had, how much I was part of some people's daily lives even. And I wanted to share more because I just think it's nice. Some of you guys seem to be feeling even a sense of loss, and boy, I never meant to hurt anybody. So we'll get into this, all right? So this video is going to have several parts. I'm going to talk about what's going on in the background here in a couple of seconds. I'm going to give you more of an explanation as to why I'm moving on. In my retirement video, I made a reference to how you guys helped me through a certain time in my life. I'm going to get into more details regarding that. I'm going to share how you guys have been changing my life in the last 5 days with your comments. And that those last two are connected. We're also going to get into some of my concussion stories, and we're going to go through my biggest one, completely life-changing event. Pretty interesting story. And maybe there'll be something more, but I just wanted to give you some of what's going to be coming up. Okay, so behind us here, this is the Nissan Skyline GTR Group A BNR 32. I think I got that right. It's a lot. It's a big mouthful. Over at Indianapolis Motor Speedway Endurance Race. I am fully upgraded, and this is one of the rare times I would use steering assist high. Indy Speedway, Daytona Speedway are the only places you will see me doing that. They help you to actually have a little bit more speed in these corners. So anyhow, that's my breakdown. Steering assist 0 on this particular one, everything else off. This is a hard race. It is deceivingly hard. I'm staying full throttle for a long time. Just watch. Watch to see how long I stay full throttle. That's often something I try to challenge myself with. This is a bit of an homage to my old favorite race, the McLaren P1 GTR at the same track. As of update 6.3, you can't get past 100 kilometers there unless you have an extremely rare glitch. But here, this race is endless, sort of. It's a survival race, a race of attrition, and you'll see, it's kind of crazy. I like it. So, that's what's going on in the background. I didn't want to just sit here talking to you because we've never done that before, and that could be weird. Why are you still looking at my Memoji? Yes, this is a Memoji. It's an Apple thing. You use this going through your messaging app, and then you can get into this and yada yada. This is my face, guys. I've had so many accidents that this is what the plastic surgeons did to me. I mean, look, see, my hair moves. It's really me. My tongue can stick out, meow, meow, meow. So this is me, guys, believe it or not. Now, so anyways, this is what you're gonna get. Let's see here. Uncomfortable pause. Okay, so let's get into a bit of why I am moving on. There are several factors. One big factor is that I'm low on time. And you've been noticing this for the last months now. A lot of you have noticed this. Usually, I would get my videos out within a few hours after an event has started. I'd work hard. You guys don't know how much work it can be, and I might do another video about that, but we'll see. Time is difficult for me right now, and going for a long time it will be difficult. Doing an event that takes let's say maybe it's like a 1 hour, 1.5 hour event. Okay, if it's a 5-stage event, I've got a bare minimum 5 hours of videos to do after that, maybe as much as 8. Yes, it's true. It takes a lot longer when you're adding voiceover and just doing the level of videos that I've been doing for you guys. So, as you noticed, sometimes it was 2-3 days after an event started that I finally got my videos out to you. And they start to get a bit irrelevant then. I know you guys still appreciate them, but it's difficult. And some of you guys noticed, hey, ME7, your voice sounds off. Are you sick? Well, no, it was 4 in the morning and I was working on videos. Not a good idea. So then I'd have a really bad day at work because I was so tired, and I just can't keep doing it. And I've been low on time for months now, and I'll be low on time for, it could be indefinite. But that's just one side of it. It's just one part of it. Another part, because I've had multiple accidents through the years, some accidents I had as a younger person are now catching up with me more so. So I have ongoing neck and shoulder issues, and doing tilt racing at a high level like I do, it requires a lot of very fine motor skills. That's what it's called. And I've worked with massage therapists, physiotherapists, got to do a lot more of that to get things really going better here. But they've told me that those fine motor skills are exactly why I'm having some of the difficulty I'm having. So 1 hour of intense racing for me. So let's say it's weekly time trial, and I'm going to put in an hour or 2 hours of really concerted effort. That is going to hurt me for a couple of days, and I just can't keep paying that cost. It hasn't always been that way, but it's been getting a lot worse in the past year. And it's this actually been a whole year that things have been changing for me. I've been reflecting on things and just trying to figure out where am I, what's going on, where's my life headed, what do I need to do next? So far there's two factors. There's amount of time in the day and physical difficulty. Then there is, I'd have to get into the next topic. There are other things that need my attention. Other things that I need to be focusing more time on that I have not been focusing time on for years now. So this will sound a little bit deep. Sometimes to become excellent in something else, you have to put down something you're currently doing. Because to be excellent in something, to become masterful in something, requires a lot of dedication and a lot of back-to-back effort. You can't just practice once a week and expect to become an expert at something. It doesn't work that way. For the past 6 years, going on 6 years and 3 months, let's say, I'd say for the most part, I played at minimum 1 hour a day. So going way back, I would do the 10-lap Le Mans race twice a day, and then other racing. Then when I learned endless endurance racing, I would do that race every bonus fame day. I'd go about 2 hours. On bigger bonus fame days, 3 hours, maybe more. And if you don't know some of what I'm talking about, there's going to be some videos at the end. I'll be putting cards up in the top right-hand corner there as we're going along here. So, for instance, the 10-lap Le Mans race, a card would have appeared. Endless endurance racing, I might just put the whole playlist up there. So, I played a lot for a long time, and that helped me to become pretty decent at this game. As I said in the retirement video, I started wanting to give back, so I'm not going to go over all of that. You can go check out that video. So let's get into how I helped you and how you helped me. Okay? Interesting story. So, August 2012. So we're going back almost 9 years ago now. I went to a local swimming pool with my family, and again. Let's take a little tiny detour here. I have viewers from all over the world. It is shocking. So I'm going to just have the list scroll by here. I just can't believe this. I mean, when last time I looked at this, a couple of countries, I think I'm a reasonably intelligent person, and I had to Google some of this. Like, where are these places? So, wow, guys, you're awesome. And I kind of wish I could open up that other category and see what's all in there. So, I'm going to over-describe certain things because I don't know where you are when you're listening to me, and some of this might sound weird to you. So a public swimming pool is a pool, a body of water that you can go and swim in, pay money and swim there. And so I took my family to a swimming pool, getting back to the story here. And there was a diving board, so you can go up in the air and hit the water and you can dive in. That's what normal people do. I ain't normal. I've always been a little bit out there, a little bit off, so I liked making massive splashes. Kaboom! I'm kind of the same way everywhere in life, guys. I go big. I do things big, I do them wow. So I'm showing my kids, hey, look what Dad can do. I can make these massive splashes, and I can make water fly all the way across this pool and all the way across the concrete, and wow. So the kids are amazed, and other people are watching. And I'm a lot of a bigger guy than I was when I was a little kid. I'm not overly huge, but when you're 100 pounds doing big splashes, that's one thing. When you're closer to 200 pounds, whoa, that's some bigger splashes, right? And so you hit the water, and the water comes rushing up around your head and makes the big kaboom sound. Well, that's a big sound. Now, if I was perfectly healthy, it probably wouldn't have mattered, but apparently I wasn't. So I did a bunch of those, and we're done the day, and we're going back home, and there's an interesting ringing in my ears. Oh well, that happens sometimes. I've been a musician almost all my life, and we're going to get into that in a bit, but I've had ringing in my ears before. I mean, I'm sure we all have. But this just got louder and louder and louder and louder and started to drive me completely insane. Like, it's like a bug in your ear that will never stop. And I'm serious, guys. I started losing my mind at a point. So it got to the point where I was always hearing 3 frequencies. And being a musician, used to be a sound man, did a bunch of stuff, I know my frequencies. So I would always hear 3600 hertz, 7800 hertz, and 8000 hertz. The really annoying thing is that the 8000 hertz would oscillate. It would go up and down and move around a little bit, and man, that's frustrating. If it was all the same, maybe that would be cool. If you are unfamiliar with frequencies, those are shockingly high frequencies. 8000, that's really high. That's the highest they test you for on a hearing test, a normal hearing test. I'm not normal. So that was just the beginning, though. There's something that is worse. So that's called tinnitus. In North America, we seem to say tinnitus, but honestly, it's really tinnitus. And if you're in a proper clinic, they'll say tinnitus. There are things worse than tinnitus, and it's called hyperacusis. So what is hyperacusis? Okay, well, your ears have the ability to regulate sound. So if a sound gets too loud, your ears have natural compression. And musicians will probably know what I mean by compression, but basically what it means is to squeeze the sounds to limit their maximum ability. Well, that's broken in my ears for many frequencies, specifically high ones. So a frequency that you will barely notice, barely bothers you, will be utterly painful for me. It's like it's happening in my head, not outside of my head. So for instance, since 2012, we have not had any meals involving plates. Not your regular glass plates. Not ceramic plates, nothing like that. It has to be paper plates. Then I can handle cutlery. If we're having glass plates, it better not involve cutlery. Whoa. Sorry, guys. Just talking about cutlery and plates just gives me the chills. I start to get dizzy immediately. It is hardwired in me. The sounds are really, really bad. I get dizzy. I can honestly black out. It sounds crazy. It's not that I actually fall over, but I start to lose my vision. It's really extreme. And this has been tested extensively. So, like I said, I know frequencies. I even have a spectrum analyzer that I will check frequencies sometimes to see which is that one that's bugging me again. So I hear very high. 9,000 hertz, brutal frequency for me. I can hear up to 12,500 hertz. And if you know much about frequencies, if you've had hearing problems, someone in their mid-40s shouldn't hear anywhere near that much. But I do, because I'm a strange guy. What do you do? So I have to have earplugs ready to go at all times. But earplugs create a problem. The longer you have earplugs in, your hearing will naturally turn itself louder. So when you take those earplugs out, everything's brutal. The tinnitus gets way worse. So it's a losing cause. I've got high-end Bose headphones, noise-canceling headphones, and also earbuds with the noise-canceling features. Actually, of all places, they come out of Australia from a company called Nuheara. Kind of cool because they have a pass-through filter. You can alter the sound a little bit. I can roll off those highs. Yeah, it sort of works. What am I getting at? Since August of 2012, my world shrunk drastically. I've been a musician since the age of 4. At age 4, I got up on the piano, taught myself a piece, figured it out, and that began my piano lessons because my mother was a classically trained musician, and she's like, oh boy, my boy can play, I think I'm going to give him lessons. And I really, really appreciate it. It really changed my life. Eventually, I found my home in the guitar realm. I've played electric guitar, acoustic guitar, classical guitar, bass guitar, 6-string bass. Oh, I love 6-string bass. Did all sorts of things. I wrote music, I sang music, I wrote lyrics, I was in bands, I performed music. I've done a lot. That all died. Like dead. Because it all hurt. I would be playing acoustic guitar and literally be trying to get away from myself. And it's like, that doesn't work. I'm like running away from myself as I'm playing. Absolutely not going to work. And I let it all die. I couldn't figure out a way to make it work. I bought different instruments. I tried all sorts of things and so it died. That's the time I'm talking about, okay? So for about a 5-6 year period, I listened to music. Even then, sometimes I'd have to remix an album because there's just too many harsh frequencies. So I'd remix it, put in a low pass filter, and strip off everything above 8,000 hertz, because I don't even think they realized it. Some of these albums, it's like, why do you have 9,000 hertz so loud? Most people can't hear that, but it's killing me. So I would remix albums, kill everything above 8,000 hertz, limit 6,000 hertz, 4,000 hertz. If you know much about music, you're starting to really hurt your cymbal experience. So I would just limit it, wouldn't kill it. I mean, even cymbals even go into the 12, 16,000 hertz area that youngsters here, very young, 16,000 young. But so I've been living as a hermit almost. Like, yeah, I went outside sometimes. I had a job, but I had a lot of control over my sound environment. And outside of work, I was at home. I stayed at home. I controlled the volumes. You guys were my only social outlet. So you don't know that, but you were my only social outlet in the last 5-6 years. So you might think this was mostly about, me doing things for you, but I felt good doing stuff for you guys because this was me socializing. So when I say that I was being sincere in helping you, I really was. I am what I say I am. So if I say I'm helping you, I'm helping you. I don't half help you, I help you. And if I don't think I can help you, I'll tell you. And that's partially why I have to move on, actually, is because my abilities to help are getting less. So I've had all sorts of hearing tests done. I've seen all types of experts. It's real. It's very real. They said you got to protect your hearing because when I feel those types of difficulties, it's real pain. It's actually rewired my brain. At a certain point, there was a surgical option. It involved, let's just put an incision behind your one ear, jack your brain up out of the way, and then we'll try to patch that semicircular canal that has a hole in it. What? You want to jack up my brain? Like what, you're going to stick a spatula in there and lift it up? No, I don't think so. Not happening. And it's also the route of very expensive hearing aids that have a constant white noise or brown noise generator. Might sound strange to you guys, but there's white noise, pink noise, brown noise. I sleep with brown noise. It's deeper, lower frequencies. I have it really loud, lots of kind of bass and mids, no highs. Very, very little highs. I might have to go that hearing aid route. I tried it once, I hated it, but I was also felt like I'm too young for hearing aids. I'm embarrassed. Just being honest, guys. And you know what? I just got to get over it. Because how else am I going to enjoy life? I'm still a young man. Lots of life to go, lots to give, and I got to give it. So another reason why I'm moving on is because other areas of life need my gifts. I've got lots of gifts. Some of you guys have noticed some of that you like. People would sometimes just like hearing me talk or the way I talk. In real life, like if you were in a room with me and you got me excited, I'll start talking very fast because I'm an excitable person, and sometimes I can talk really fast, especially if I'm really excited about something. I'll talk about Lamborghinis and Bugattis and all sorts of things because that's how I can talk. So you might not have followed very much of that, especially if you're from a different country. When I'm doing a video, I purposely talk a bit slower and I talk a bit clearer. Part of my ability to speak clearly is because I was raised in a musical family. Classical music, listen to my mother singing oh so clearly and enunciating so clearly, even doing operatic vocals. So that's part of what happened. So the music is calling me back, guys. It's kind of interesting, but boy, I've been feeling it and I'm getting back into it and I just don't have time for everything. So here's the thing. I'm already falling behind in Real Racing 3. Like I said, you guys have been noticing it. Certain cars I don't even own because I didn't have time. That means I will become less and less of an expert. You don't want to be the person that people say, get rid of this guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about anymore. He's giving us bad advice. He's wasting our currency. He is not an expert. He's not a game changer. He's a game wrecker. That's what's going to start to happen. And I will not let that happen. I will not give you bad advice. And I don't want to play the game as much because it hurts me. Physically, it hurts me. And I don't have the time to make the really good videos that you guys are used to getting from me. So those are all reasons why I have to step back. And you can just do the math if you think about this. I don't own cars. Then I can't do other events with them. Weekly time trials, can't do them. I don't have the right car. Can't just go and buy it. Like, yeah, I got a lot of currency. There's a reason I have a lot of currency. I am super careful. I could go blow that currency on some cars now, and I might just do that, play for fun here and there. You might find me on the online multiplayer, because that's a place I just love doing that sometimes. I spend a whole bunch of time there, don't earn much currency, but man, it's fun. Okay, so let us move on now. Let's connect some dots. So, concussions. Let's have a concussion discussion. Some of my hearing trouble probably is from some concussions. I've had a lot of them. So since I learned how to ride a bike, very shortly after that, I was taking jumps. I was inspired by the Dukes of Hazzard. And here's a tribute video I did for the Dukes of Hazzard. Pretty well every single episode, they completely destroyed a Dodge Challenger. And I mean, literally, guys, they started to run low on these cars because they'd wrecked so many in the show. It's kind of a silly show, but please don't take offense if you're a fan. People who don't know the show will probably think it's like, what's going on here? Well, you got to think back to when all of us were youngsters watching this show with this car doing these crazy jumps. So that's what I wanted to do on my bike. And I've been jumping for a long time now. And so lots of head injuries. Now, that got me into the BMX freestyle realm. Okay, so I started with the BMX. I never did BMX racing. I just jumped. Then I got a freestyle bike. That's a bike that's specifically meant for stunts. Bear in mind, this is back to the mid-80s to 1990s. The bikes were different back then. Modern day freestyle BMX bikes, well, the freestyle bikes have a very small chainring in the front, which makes a lot more sense for the tricks, for the flatland riding, even some of the street riding. You just want to build up some speed quick. You don't need lots of it. When I was doing this back in the day, we had a big chainring and we could go fast. You had to push really hard to get going, but when you got going, you were going. So, this is back 30 years ago. I'm 15 years old, and I was a mixed up teenager. Lots of us are, right? Well, I was pretty mixed up. I was very frustrated with life. I was angry about things. I had been in a pretty dark place for years. I'll share with you the full experiences. I was raised in a Christian home, and at age 12, I was just getting really kind of sick and confused with some of this belief system. So I'm like, God, I know you're real, but I don't like you. Sorry, guys, sounds like blasphemy. Just hang on here, okay? I was just confused. I was frustrated. It's like there's all these big questions that a lot of people struggle with, and I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Don't want anything to do with you. So that's what I did. Kind of walked away from that whole realm. And it sounds crazy, right? I'm only 12, but man, I got into some pretty dark stuff. Mainly in my head. I didn't go out and do anything like rob a bank or anything crazy like that. But I mean, started hanging out with some of the wrong crowd and just some more of the bad influences. So fast forward, and I'm 15 years old. And again, I'm an experienced stunt rider at this point, okay? Stunt riders know something. So if you're into BMX riding, freestyle riding, or more aggressive mountain bike riding, you know how to crash. Once you start crashing, you immediately jump clear of the bike, because you do not want to be tangled up on the bike during a crash. It is going to hurt. Wow, it's going to hurt bad. So you know how to jump clear. I knew how to jump clear. I rode half pipes, quarter pipes, big dirt jumps, quarter pipes. Big dirt jumps. If there was a jump, I was taking it. I was jumping all the time. So 5 feet off the ground, 6 feet, 10 feet. I remember going off of a jump once. It was on an indoor park, and it was like an 18-foot ceiling or something like that, and I hit my head on the ceiling. Just tiles, but it's like, yeah, that's pretty high. And so I had lots of crashes. Didn't often hit my head because I knew how to crash. Most of my concussions were from just silly stuff, and I wasn't ready for the accident. Okay, so let's fast forward. I'm 15 years old, so it's about 1990. I'll give you a few hints. I'm in a Canadian city in the Canadian prairies, which will narrow it down, but keep it a little bit vague. Temperatures go from plus 40 Celsius in the summer down to minus 40 or more in the winter. For you Fahrenheit people, that's about 103 to negative 40. Yeah, sounds crazy. That's because it is. It's crazy. It's so freakishly cold. Now, this was in summer. So, it's rush hour traffic. Speed limit is 50 kilometers an hour, but guys doing 55. Miles per hour, I'm gonna guess that's 30. Okay, give or take, it's about 30. There's a whole horde of cars behind me. I'm on the sidewalk. I got to get onto the road to get around a certain area, and then I can hop back on the sidewalk. I am keeping pace with the cars, which again, that's where my story about the bigger chain ring is important, because if you're sprinting on that bike, you can do that. I go to jump off the curb, like I've done piles of times. It's a 3-inch drop. I would do 4-foot drops off of loading docks, no big deal. And it's like my bike stopped. It just stopped. I don't know what happened. I jumped clear without thinking about it. My right foot caught the handlebar, breaking the outer metatarsal. I'll use some technical terms here. And that caused my head to go down towards the road quite fast. Boom! Last thing I remember is a horrible cracking sound. That's my head cracking open. I wake up a little while later, I don't know how long it's been, and everything's pitch black. Why? I'm unconscious. And I stand up, and I don't know what's going on. Then something really pushes me hard, right in my low back, okay? Right in like the small of the back, right above your waistline, right there. It's pushing me hard, so I just start running in the direction it's pushing me in, because it feels like it's almost gonna push me over if I don't run. And I'd say to myself, why am I running? And then I started hopping on my left foot. And I'm like, well, why am I hopping? And then I felt myself jump up on something. And how did I know to jump? And what did I jump up? And then everything's black still. And I don't remember anything for quite a while. And then I wake up and there's people all around me. And they're saying all sorts of different things. Oh, it's a good thing you got out of the way. Oh, all those cars just missed you. You would have been dead for sure. And just, what? And I was thinking, well, yeah, there was a whole bunch of cars. How did I get, what's going on? And I'm a bloody mess. I'm not swearing. I am a bloody mess. There's a trail of blood from where I crashed to where I was. There was a medical clinic right there. And for those of you who don't know, a medical clinic is like a really small hospital. They do kind of basic stuff. You can see doctors there, get prescriptions. They could put a cast on you, bandage some wounds. You don't go there with major trauma. That's where I was. So they got me in a wheelchair, and then an ambulance arrives. People called the ambulance, and it's like, well, what's going on? And the guy's asking me these dumb questions. Do you know who the Prime Minister is? Do you know what day of the week it is? Do you know what the date is? I'm thinking, look, bud, I don't feel very good. Can you please ask someone else these educational questions? Because I kind of need help. I had no idea that this was concussion related, all right? So I forgot that I could have had a free ambulance ride, and I just went to the Mediclinic. Mistake. And so let's get into the injuries. I broke my upper and lower right eye socket. Then I slid on my face. So I land face first, and I slide on my face, and then I start tumbling. There are cuts under my chin. There are cuts between my knuckles. There are cuts all over my body. You wouldn't notice it if you met me in person. I broke both jaw joints, minorly crushed them. So a foot, my right foot that had the outer metatarsal broken, that hit the pavement really hard, and then it got ripped all the way back. So ripping tendons, ripping ligaments. One of the bones is half gone, just disappeared. So half gone. And road rash over 1/4 of my body. The right side of my face got rubbed off. Not totally, but road rash means you got rubbed across the concrete until a bunch of skin's gone. Thankfully, not so much that I needed skin grafts, but gosh, guys, wasn't very good. Took me a while to walk again. I had a cast for 8 weeks, but my foot had severe problems. Went to different orthopedic surgeons. They said, hey, buddy, we want to weld 3 of your joints together, so you won't be able to bend your foot at all. You basically have a club foot, tiny bit of movement. I'm like, no. I'm 15, not happening. We're not doing that. I'll live with the pain. I'll see if I can learn to walk again. I'll see how this works. Wow, brutally painful. I re-broke my foot so many times because it's a joint and the one pocket's missing. And so if I stepped a little bit too hard on my foot and rolled forward, grind, break, owie. And I limped heavily for a decade. People who know me would notice it. Even now, I can still slip into that limp. I have to concentrate. And that's not the scariest part, guys. My eye, my right eye, it actually hit the ground. I hit with such force that my eye hit the pavement and went back in, but it got cut on the road. Now, we didn't know that at first because my eye, I broke the upper and lower eye sockets, it swelled completely shut. Once it opened up, my eye was blood red, and I'd go to reach for something, I'd knock things over, and I was so embarrassed because I'd knock over drinks, knock over the ketchup bottles, because my depth perception was wrecked. And I was frustrated. So, here's the thing. All the eyewitnesses said nobody helped me. What? Someone pushed me out of the way. No. They said that I was alone out there. That I got out of the way, and I just barely got out of the way. Okay, it's rush hour, guys. Whole horde of cars. If car one didn't hit me, if he slammed on the brakes, he would have been shoved right through me anyways. I would have been driven over multiple times. I would have been dead. Why am I not dead? Well, God decided to save my life. Even though I told him I was done with him, he decided he wasn't done with me. So, wow. Shocker. So let's get to my eye. Was my eye ruined? No. After it stabilized, I went for an eye test. And guess what? I had 20/20 vision. How is that possible? Your vision was wrecked. Yeah, but I had 12/20 vision before that. You might not know about that. People think 20/20 means perfect. No, it just means really good. There's better than 20/20. There's 15/20, 12/20, 10/20. Look it up. Some people are medically having themselves put to 10/20. I had 12/20 in my right eye. And after all this was said and done, I was left with 20/20. So let me get this straight. So God knew about the accident, gave me extra vision in that eye, so that once the accident happened, I still wouldn't need glasses. Okay, Jesus, I don't get it. I don't understand. There's still a lot I don't understand. But at that point, I'm like, okay, I physically felt you shove me out of the way. And everyone said I was all alone. No one was there. And then you made sure I still don't need glasses. Wow. There's a lot I don't understand, but that was it. I'm like, Jesus, I'm back. So that accident was a total life-changing moment. This probably happens in other religions, but there's something called a prayer chain or a prayer whatever. Because I was really severely wounded, they sent prayer requests to all sorts of different churches in different cities. And old family friends heard about me and said, we know that guy, let's go visit him. So they did. And then I went back to their city and really hit it off with a bunch of good people, people my age and similar belief system. And no one in my city, I couldn't connect. I tried to connect with people, they didn't want to. And I had just nothing but bad influences for friends. And the years went by, and it's a long drive to this other city, like 2.5, 3 hours. So years go by, and I'm 17 years old in my last year of high school, grade 12 here in Canada. And I get the strong impression that I'm supposed to move to this other city now. I'm like, whoa, now? Mom's not going to go for that. And I was trying really hard to be a good kid. I'm like, I'm not going to rebel. So if that's you, God, you better convince Mom, because I'll tell her, but I'm not going to leave without her permission. 6 weeks later, she said, you got to go. And she helped me get there financially. And it was just a life changer. In that city, I met my wife. In that city, I met groups of people that totally changed my life and got me to where I am now. It all connects. It's just shocking how it worked. So that accident that was supposed to kill me got used to totally change my life, hook me up with my wonderful wife, connect me to my wonderful wife, and I've got kids, and my whole life changed. So what was meant to destroy me got used for my benefit. That's kind of cool. Concussion story number 2. This one is called 2 Concussions in 5 Seconds. Yes, it's true. Okay, so we're going to fast forward about 5 years. I'm now married and having my first child, so it's time to buy a car. At this point, I was still driving my mountain bike everywhere, including in winter. Yep, you put studded tires on it and you can drive it. So minus 30s, I was on my bike. Gets kind of difficult because the grease starts to freeze, so you really have to just keep pedaling all the time. You don't really get that cold. Well, you got to dress properly, but you're burning so much energy and you start sweating, so you have to dress so you're cold at the start and then you feel fine later. And there was public transit if my wife and I needed to go somewhere, so it was all looked after. So I don't have a lot of money, and I think I'll go to the auto auction. I'll get a good deal there. Some people are already shaking their head. That's not where you go if you don't know your stuff. I didn't know my stuff at this point. So you're swimming with the sharks? I got bit. Someone starts running up the price. Obviously the guy who either, well, it might have been his buddy, because I think it would be illegal for him to bid on his own car. Anyhow, I end up overpaying for this car, and it was a total write-off. They just had redone some body work to make it look okay. I mean, I inspected it before the auction, but there was nothing to see. Looked good on the outside, looked good on the inside. Yeah. So anyways, one of my friends said, you could just sell it again in the auction. And even the auto company that I talked to, the auction company, I said, like, look, I got ripped off. What are you going to do about it? They said, it's your fault. It's your problem. That's true. So it's not in my ethics to do that. I wouldn't do it. I paid for all the repairs. Frame had to get straightened out. Blah, blah, blah. And I was a lot more into this car than I wanted to be, especially since it was just a basic and a cheaper Suzuki. So, fast forward, 3 weeks after the repairs are done, we've been driving it for a little while. My wife and I had to go to another city about 8 hours away because I had a little bit of work there for my company. When I was done, couldn't really sleep that night, so we thought, let's just go home. So we drove all night. It's winter time. That day, the very next day, so I drove all night, had music practice, and I'm driving to my friend's home. And there's this intersection where if you're not paying careful enough attention, you'll mistake one light for the other light, which is what I did. So I'm going 50 kilometers an hour, that's about 30 miles an hour, and I drive right into this intersection. I get T-boned. That means hit on the side by 2 cars. My head smashes against the side pillar. I'm instantly unconscious. I wake up in just enough time to drive right into a brick wall, and I'm unconscious again. My seatbelt wasn't working, head hit the steering wheel, bonk, ouch. I wake up to my friend yelling my name, and I look over, like, oh, where's everyone? And I see this lady hunched over the steering wheel in another car, and I gotta get out and help her, and I couldn't open my door. So I start bashing it with my shoulder until it opens. I check on her, she's okay. I go call the police. I get back to the car, and I'm like, what? The roof is all rippled. Like, I couldn't close the door at all. Massive damage right near where my left leg would have been, like just a few inches. I'm like, this is crazy. And I had a really bad concussion. I'm sitting there in the back of the police car, and they're saying, okay, buddy, tell us the story. What happened? And I say, it's 100% my fault, guys. I ran the red light. I just didn't see it. I'm sorry, but it's all my fault. They didn't say anything. They looked at each other. They looked forward for a while, and then they looked back at me and said, oh, sorry, we're not used to hearing the truth. We're used to lies, and then we have to get the truth. So we're just going to give you the running the red light ticket. We're going to hit you with undue care and attention, driving too fast for the conditions, etc., etc. We're sorry. You're apologizing to me? Okay. And then I get the car's a write-off, and I'm sitting there with the auto adjuster, and he's like, well, every single part says Suzuki, it says made in Japan. It's worth more. Oh, I actually made money on this whole deal. And thank God that I didn't have horrible long-term injuries from my concussions. So let's go full circle here. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE for short. I did have some of those symptoms when I was a youngster. Thankfully, it didn't last. So some of the memory issues, focus issues, thankfully my brain didn't stay swelled up. You can't really prove CTE without an autopsy. Please let's just not do that. I'm still alive. But you can certainly tell based on symptoms. And so guys, I'm okay. Hopefully it isn't affecting me. Hopefully that continues to be the case. So thank you for your concern. I think my concussion related issues are okay. It's really the rest of me that has trouble, some of the neck and shoulder stuff. So how have you guys been helping me? Well, I felt like the last 6 years of my life were a bit of a waste. Like, don't get me wrong, I was doing some good things in work, but I wasn't contributing to society, I thought. I'm sitting at home, kind of sheltered away from all the noise, sheltered away from everything that would hurt my ears, and I'm playing a racing game, volume off most of the time, and I'm making videos. I'm helping people the best way I know how, but I don't really know if I'm making a difference. Like, I don't know if it matters. I don't know if it matters what I'm doing. But I did it. I gave it my best, guys. You know, I did the best I could to help you guys, and I felt good about it sometimes. Like, I'd put out a video. I mean, some videos, guys, there's times I spent 8 hours on a video or more. Sometimes I'd spend weeks just getting good enough to pull off a race. And man, blood, sweat, and tears, guys, into these videos at times. And I mean, I'm being a little bit figurative, but wow. And I felt good when it got appreciated. So then it came time for me to retire because, like I said, I got to move on. There's all sorts of things going on. And then you guys start pouring out all of these compliments and thanking me. And I'm like, wait a second. You mean this wasn't a waste? You mean I didn't just waste 6 years of my life being in my basement, basically? Oh, well, that's amazing. You guys don't know how much you're affecting me. That's what I want to tell you. One thing I realize that you got to tell people when they are helping your life. You got to tell them while you can. So I'm telling you, you guys have been changing my life. It's going to take me weeks, maybe months to understand this all. But I'm just finding out that I didn't totally waste the last 6 years. That somehow my efforts got used for good. It's helped you guys. Some of you guys have even been using my videos to learn English, to improve your daily life. Like, wow, I just didn't know all this stuff. So you're making a huge difference in my life. I still have to go. It's still my time to go. But I wanted to share with you, you're changing my life. Like I said, sometimes to embrace something else, you've got to let go of what you have. So I'm letting go of what is comfortable. I'm letting go of my racing career. It's my time. I've seen that on multiple levels. I've got to embrace something else, guys. There's only so much time in our lives. We never know when our day has come. I've survived a lot more than I probably should have. So I got to get on with it. So again, massive thank you to all of you. So you have helped me. And please, I hope you don't think I'm trying to be preachy at all. That's not my style. You must know that by now. And all this time that we've been interacting with one another, I've never brought this up. So this is my story, okay? That's just it. That's my story. And hope you liked it. This crazy race behind me, yeah. So you can see that's some crazy stuff back there, some crazy accident avoidance. Eventually you can see that even though I didn't have any major collisions, I didn't have a cracked windshield, too much side damage does affect you. And then you can't keep filling up that clock. As you can see, I eventually just could not keep up with the cars. I become dependent on accidents at that point. You've got to stay as crazy aggressive as I was, or you will run out of cars. At a certain point in this race, you could see 2 cars were crashing. I had to go off track to the inside, off of corner 2, I think it was. And it took me like 4 or 5 laps to catch up again. Man, that was scary for me. And I switched over to miles per hour for a while because you can't see the 1. The car covers it all. But then once the kilometers got over to the 200 area, I switched back. And as you can see, yeah, the race really doesn't pay that good, but gosh, it can be a lot of fun. One goal I had for myself was to do an actual Indy 500. You know how long that would take in this car? Like, man, guys, I tried it. I actually tried it a lot, but it's just so difficult. If one of you can ever pull that off, hey, that's awesome. I couldn't do it. Help people. Do your best to help people. I started my channel thinking I was not very good at this game, but I would try to give back. And along the way, I got better. I got encouraged by you. You guys encouraged me to do better. And eventually I became, I'm not comfortable with the word, but people call me a legend. A lot of people, I reached a legendary status. Wow, that's a big word for me to use. I'm not comfortable using it myself. I'll leave that to you guys. I'm happy if I made a difference. I'm just happy if I helped you along the way. If my skills benefited you, if my advice benefited you, I'm happy with that. I hope that's my legacy. I hope that's what's legendary about me. Keep practicing. You won't become a legend in a day or a week or a month or even in a year. But if you keep it up on a daily basis, you'll get amazing someday. If not, be a legendary helper. That's what I'll say. Be a legend at how you help others, how you treat others. And then you can't lose, right? I mean, we just got to do our best. So, this is ME7 signing off. Again. Again, I wasn't planning to do this, but I really felt like I needed to. I've had a relationship with a lot of you people, more than I knew. and I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. So a little bit more information about me, my life, what's going on. Thank you guys for the good times. Bye-bye.